Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon, Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
Birds keep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Needy boys brawling, no holds barred bout. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker, in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe. Not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? You know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe. Party reps, blood centers. Got me on the mic now, let's spill the tea. Talking courtside dreams from history. Legends on the blacktop now and then. From Will to Steph, we hit it again. Moment of chimes in, let's go deep. Young bloods rising, can't skip a beat. Puppy prospects with fire in their eyes. Draft night suckers and hoop dream highs. Wire to wire, bring the heat. Podcast magic can't be beat. Do better, we're more better. Or who cares? Trendsetters.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guardy3, and I'm here with my co-host. He is the greatest co-host of all time, by the way, Mo Better. How you doing, Mo? Oh, you're muted, sir.
I'm doing great. We're back. It's been a minute for and one, so I'm always excited to chop it up with my partner, Guardy3. You know what? NBA family, tough day for the NBA family. As we all know, Russell Westbrook, aka the Brody, is hanging them up. And when a player who's had the epic career that Russell Westbrook has had, hangs it up, you want to talk about it. And obviously, at some point, you want to say, where would he rank all time? Where would he rank amongst his peers at his position? I think Russell Westbrook, no question, is a top 10 point guard all time. That's what I believe. I think he's earned that. I've seen some other lists out there that had him as high as 5 all time. And again, I'm not saying that's crazy. I wouldn't have him that high, especially when you name some of the players that you name post-merger and pre-merger. There's just a couple. There's guys before the big deal, like an Oscar Robertson and Jerry West, that just were better basketball players. Point blank, period. They were just better basketball players. Not better athletes, but better basketball players. You could rank him ahead of a guy like John Stockton. I wouldn't say that's necessarily crazy. I would just say that there are, like, to me, there's like kinds of point guards. There's your traditional point guard who's more of a facilitator, where scoring is his second or third or even third option. And those kind of guys usually average around 14, 15 points a game, 9 or 10 assists. And I think Stockton is that prototype. Maybe like Bob Cousy and some others. But when you look at guys like Russ or a Steph or a Dame or a Kyrie, I think all of those guys are more combo guards than they are point guards. So I acknowledge that they're great, but you could argue that Damian Lillard is more of a short 2 guard than he is a point guard. I've always felt that way about him or Steph or even Kyrie. These are just guys. It's not that they don't facilitate, but they're usually secondary facilitators. These are guys that average around 6 assists a game, which, by the way, it's nothing to sneeze at. But what they do best, it's not facilitate. What Steph does best, what Dame does best, what Russ does best, what Kyrie does best is score. They do it in different ways, but that's what they do best. They score the basketball. I think that a guy like John Stockton, a guy like Jason Kidd, they're cut from a different cloth and they play the game a different way. The amazing thing about Russell Westbrook is we always talk about the triple doubles, which, by the way, incredibly impressive. To do it over a 3-year stretch is insane. But what about double doubles? I think Russell Westbrook, I could be wrong, but I think all time among point guards with double doubles, I'd be willing to bet he's ranked no worse than second or third. And if he was behind anybody, this is where you can tell that I've been watching ball for a minute. If I had to guess, because we're talking double doubles, not triple doubles, he's probably behind John Stockton. I would argue probably everybody is behind John Stockton because I think John Stockton played I want to say he played 1,500 games, maybe more. And in those 1,500 games, John Stockton didn't miss a lot of games, and he was incredibly productive. I don't know the exact number, but I think amongst point guards, John Stockton is number one when it comes to double doubles, and Russ is 2.
You are almost correct. Russ is tied for 2.
Oh,
Ironically, another Hall of Fame point guard that retired very recently, Chris Paul. They both have 539.
that's awesome.
For reference, John Stockton
I
has
love it.
714.
That's awesome.
That is an absurd number, by the way.
Holy.
714. I don't know if
It
there's
is.
a lot of guys who are going to catch that.
No, look again. John Stockton was one of one, not just great but incredibly durable. I lost count of how many seasons John Stockton played 80 or more games, but it's a lot. I think he played 19 or 20 years, like just an Iron Man. So yeah, look again. If you have Russell Westbrook ahead of John Stockton, I'm not calling you crazy. I'm simply saying in the hierarchy of all-time great point guards. When I look at a point guard, I'm going to say, do I enjoy watching you? Do I enjoy your game and how you play the game? And would I want you on my team as my point guard? And if I'm choosing between Russ and John Stockton, I hate to say it, but I would take John Stockton.
The thing talking about like Russ compared to other all-time point guards is he has a higher peak than a lot of them. Like if I have to compare like him and his and John Stockton's peak, his peak blows Stockton's out of the water. But the challenge also is Russ also has a lower low than most. Like something like Stockton was just very consistent for 20 years. Whereas obviously we know Russ had that run with the Lakers, and then he had a semi, whatever with the Nuggets, and then the Kings. Like it's one of those things. At the end of the day, though, wherever you have him, to say that he's a top 10 point guard of all time retiring, that is nothing to scoff at. So truly just one of the greats of the game, just a titan of the game. And, honestly, it feels like the league got a little worse that, Russ isn't in anymore, because maybe my favorite thing about Russ, whether he's up by 1, down by 50, about to win a title, not about to win a title, about to get knocked out, he just brought this like level of intensity that nobody can touch. Like, was he out of control? Yeah, a little bit. But did he like bring it 120% every play? Yeah. And that was always something I respected about Russ. Like, if he could be on the Sacramento Kings in a tanking year, he could be going to war against Miami Heat LeBron in the NBA Finals, Steph in the Western Conference Finals. And you can say a lot of things about Russ, but you can never say he didn't give 120%. And that is going to lead him straight into a first ballot Hall of Fame induction down the road.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree. Never cheated the game. Gave you everything, and I don't want anyone listening to take that for granted. Because I would tell you there are a lot of players out there, no names, who don't necessarily give you everything. They make business decisions. Russ was never like that. Like I said, he's unique. I've heard people make the reference that Russell Westbrook is the most athletic point guard of all time. I don't disagree with that. But in the sense that he had the career that he had, because the only guy that I could compare him to would be Derrick Rose, and obviously Derrick Rose's career was cut short. Had we had a 15-year sample of Derrick Rose, I don't know if I would give Russ that title, because I would say when they were both playing, they were very close. Obviously, Derrick Rose won an MVP. Russ later went on to win an MVP. But I mean, they had similar styles. I would say that I think Derrick Rose had a tighter handle and he had a better change of direction. But you know, for what it's worth, if you followed their careers in terms of actual shooting, Derrick Rose wasn't a good shooter. He didn't shoot any better than Russ. Go look at the numbers. Neither one of them were necessarily good shooters from range. I think both of them were really good pull-up shooters. And obviously they were both next level at attacking the basket. I think Russell Westbrook is unique because it's funny. Like he's retiring today. And I believe he's 38 years old, Brett. But as an athlete, I'm not talking about as a player, because obviously he's not the same player he was 7-8 years ago. But as an athlete, he's still one of the most athletic players in the game. He's not the player that he was, but I'm talking about as an athlete. He's still a freakish athlete at 38.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest difference between Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose to me is I think Russ was a more like violent dunker and a more violent finisher, while Rose just had better body control in the air. Like, to me, Derrick Rose was a much better finisher around the rim than Russ because he just had much better body control, where Russ was an absolutely just violent finisher. The problem is, well, you saw him miss a lot of easy like looks because he would just be going 110 miles an hour, and it isn't always easy to hit a layup when you're just going full speed every time. So, but yeah, no, that was it. Would say we just wanted to start out by paying tribute to a legend, and almost ironically, Mo, we always start out with an underrated player of the week. With the way the end of his career went, you could almost argue that Russell Westbrook is slightly underrated by a lot of people, because I feel like I've seen him get underrated at times because I'm like, oh yeah, look what he did in the Lakers, look what he did with the Nuggets. Like,
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's
but
funny because
peak
we just said. No, I mean, I think you're right. You brought that up, and that's a great take. That his peak blows pretty much all the other point guards out the water. Most point guards. So I do understand that. But you also made another excellent point, because there's the highs and then there's the lows. A good example is John Stockton never went to the heights that Russell Westbrook went to at his peak. But on the back end of his career, when he was older, like Russ is older now, John Stockton was still solid as a rock. People weren't saying, John Stockton need to retire, or John Stockton ain't what he used to be, even though he was older, not quite what they didn't say that, because he was still playing effective, efficient basketball. And what happened with Russ is when he wasn't this ultra next level athlete no more, the athleticism used to make up for the mistakes or the miscues, because it would just wow you, and it could overcompensate. But when it left, it kind of highlighted the flaws. You pointed out, when he's not a violent dunker and you just trying to get him to finish around the basket, Russ missed a lot of bunnies. He just did. But again, I'm talking about Russell Westbrook on the back end of his career. And this isn't a show about killing Russell Westbrook. So let me just make it simple. He is a great player. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I hope that more and more fans take a step back, look at the entirety of his career, and just give him flowers because he is a great player. I do think there's a debate to be had where he lands in the top 10. Somebody might have him a lot higher than I have him or you have him. I think in a weird way, because of the career that he's had, though, he might be one of the hardest players to rank because just on sheer numbers, you'd be like, well, who else ever did any of that? Nobody. Nobody's done the things that he's done statistically. Not from the point guard position. The closest one is Oscar Robertson, and the Big O did it 1 year. Russ did it 3 years. I'm not saying Russ is better than the Big O, but I am saying that he's done some phenomenal things in his career. And I remember when KD left, all we talked about was, man, the Warriors are going to be dope. They're going to be nice, which they were. But a lot of people thought, well, the Thunder are going to just collapse. And to his credit, without KD, I thought Russ did an amazing job of keeping OKC relevant, making them matter still. He did that.
And that really wasn't an easy task. I don't think a lot of people remember just how rough some of that 2016-17 OKC team really was. Because obviously that was before they got Paul George. That was before they got Melo. Right. I'm watching guys like Kyle Singler get real playing time, and I'm like, all right, guys, what are we kind of trying to accomplish here? And Russ is just kind of dragging the squad, kicking and screaming to a playoff spot. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There is no. And plus, one of my favorite Russ moments of all time is actually from that MVP triple-double season. I think you remember this one, Mo. Game 82 against the Denver Nuggets. He bangs home a three to not only secure his triple-double average, but to walk off the Nuggets in the last game of the season. It's almost like the perfect embodiment of Russ right there, just how hyped everybody got for that.
And that's another thing that gets kind of lost in the sauce. Russ, every player as a fan we're drawn to or not drawn to for different reasons. Russell Westbrook, for me, has always been one of those players that I rooted for. I've followed him going back to when he was at UCLA with Kevin Love and all. I've been following him for the longest time, and I've always rooted for him. He's just one of them guys you want to root for because he's a good dude off the court. Most players would tell you Russ is the salt of the earth as a human being. He's generous in the community. Just a real dude. And I hate that the last few years of his careers, more than a few fans kind of turned on him and he should retire or he's walked. I never felt that. I just felt that clearly you could see could still play, could still be an effective player. He just was no longer capable of being the guy anymore. But I don't think he embarrassed himself. I hate when people say, well, he should have left. Like the Lakers season, I get disappointing, but disappointing. What did he average? 15-7-7 or 16-7-7? And he was the third guy, and it was a down season. He wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a natural fit because he's not a spot up shooter. And they brought him there, and I thought, all right, they're bringing him there, but they have to let Russ be Russ. Well, they didn't do that. They told Russ, get in the corner and let LeBron be LeBron and shoot threes. He's not a good shooter. The results shouldn't have come as a surprise to anybody. I just want more fans to acknowledge the entirety of his career and not the final 2 or 3 years where I think he played well, but it wasn't meaningful basketball because he was playing on bad teams. Like I want a player like Russell Westbrook to be in a contender and go out that way. I don't want him to go out playing for the Kings because they don't play a lot of meaningful basketball. So if there's a disappointment as a fan, yeah, I would have loved to see him play meaningful basketball on his way out versus, going somewhere like Sacramento and them being more of a bottom dweller team. That's kind of disappointing for a guy who's had the kind of career that he's had. But shout out to the Brody for a great year, a great career. 18 years just being relentless, a great competitor, a great guy. Um, Nothing but respect and love for you and your career.
Yeah, and it's almost like a lesson to be had in this, right? Like, probably just appreciate the legends while they're still like playing, because you don't know when it's going to be over for them. Like, we're about to see LeBron in his age 42 season. I know it's obviously a very fun thing to hate on LeBron James, but at the end of the day, like, this might be it. And if this is it, like, acknowledge, like, well, just appreciate what you're watching, because you're never going to see it again. Maybe Kevin Durant and Steph Curry just unexpectedly retire. Like, appreciate them while they're still here. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like too many people don't appreciate the legends while they're still here, like the true titans of the game. And I almost feel like that's a mistake. Like, you can go against, like, you can boo them. Like, obviously, when Kevin Durant faces my Bucks, I boo him, but I still respect the crap out of someone like KD. Like, every time LeBron faces the Bucks, I boo him, but I just respect the crap out of LeBron. Like, yeah, taunt him, be a fan, but at the end of the day, when you see a true titan of the game, finishing out their career, just make sure that you're showing love to them, because they absolutely deserve it.
Agreed. Agreed.
And how about, by the way, can you tell me what the Los Angeles Clippers are doing? I can't figure out what the Clippers are trying to accomplish here. Like, they made it in my opinion, a very questionable signing today with Bradley Beal. It's not the fact that they brought back Bradley Beal. Mo, I thought Bradley Beal was playing at the level of a minimum player before he got hurt in Los Angeles. So
Right.
Los Angeles brings him back at what, over double the league minimum? Like, are you really expecting him to round off into what exactly? I just don't understand paying him like double the minimum when not even just last year, the last maybe 2 or 3 years we saw him, he just clearly was just not worth anything more than a minimum. He's just not saying he can't be an impactful player in the right role, but there's just too many inconsistencies and up and down for Bradley Beal to just be on anything other than maybe slightly over a minimum. But to me, double that, I know it's not a ton of money per se, but I don't know. That, to me, that's just questionable roster building right there.
Yeah, and for me, it's not even about the money. It's just about like what you pointed out. Like, what do you think you're getting from Bradley Beal? What are you expecting? Like, if you're the Clippers, you're in a semi rebuild. It's pretty obvious you're in a rebuild. Knowing that, and Bradley Beal not being part of your future, because he really isn't. He's not young, and he's certainly nowhere near his prime. Why would you even make this signing? Because from a culture standpoint, he's not a great leader. He's not one. So it's not one of those things like we brought him in because a leader. He's a veteran, but he's not a leader. So I don't understand the benefit of bringing him in. I don't see the benefit for bringing him in. I know if I'm Darius Garland, I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't feel like that's a lot of help. The Clippers have made a lot of moves that made me scratch my head this offseason. The only one that made sense was when they tried to get rid of Kawhi, because he's got a lot of baggage and everybody wants to get rid of him now. But that was the only move that made sense, and they can't even do that right, because I don't think that trade's going to count. I think it's going to get nullified.
And that's almost why earlier in the offseason, like when that first came out, that it's going to hold up the trade. I was like, if you're the Clippers, do you consider just going, yeah, you know what? We did it. Like, just let this fucking trade, let this freaking trade go through. Like, you had, to me, that was the right move very much with Kawhi. He just had maybe the best season that he's had in the last couple of years. I think it's smart to just sell high and, try to max out his value right now. But now you're just kind of stuck. And it's not like you've already kind of opened Pandora's box on both sides. Because, like, if you're the BI and this trade gets nullified, are you really just going to be like, yeah, Toronto, we all good? Like, if you're Kawhi and this trade gets nullified, you're going, yeah, we cool, I guess. Like that's kind of just hurt feelings all around. So, like, now you're in a situation where even if this trade doesn't go through, like, is BI on the move anyway?
Right.
They,
And
well, would say about Kawhi, but we don't even know if it's like what's going on, if his contract's going to get nullified or what's going on with that.
I feel like the penalty really, because we don't talk about it a lot, but Kawhi is one part of the investigation. Let's not act like the Clippers got clean hands, because it's murky. It's murky. Steve Ballmer is trying to play victim, but it's murky. You've been a shark of a businessman for over 30 years, but you want people to believe that some guy got you. Like he put something over on Steve Ballmer. I had no clue what was going on. I don't buy it. I don't think anybody involved in this situation has clean hands. Not Kawhi, not Ballmer, not Uncle Dennis, nobody. I think it's the kind of situation, if you're a Clippers fan, you really just want the entire situation to go away. You do. And quite frankly, you want Kawhi to go away. And this isn't me. I'm not a Kawhi Leonard hater, because I do think he's a great player. Whatever the situation with the investigation, he's a great player. But I think that the fact that they're still into this far in, we were supposed to get answers by All-Star break. Remember that? By the All-Star break, Silver said, I want this resolved. We're in the summer now. Free agency's done, pretty much done. Draft is come and gone. We've got summer league is come. When is this going to get resolved? And look, you brought it up before the show. I think Kawhi is going to be suiting up for the Clippers again. And look, he probably can get over it because he's an older guy. But you're right. I don't think Brandon Ingram is going to come back to Toronto with his arms out, ready to hug everybody and go, "Oh no, I'm over it." I don't think that's going to happen. So you're right. To me, if the trade gets nullified, I think BI is going to be on the move again, which is really jacked up. But I do think that's going to happen.
Hey, that'd be interesting to see where potential BI targets if this Clipper trade falls through. Because while he's not necessarily my kind of player that I'd want to add to my team and build around, he's definitely talented. He's got some talents, that's for sure. Like I said, when it comes to like team building, it's not my cup of tea. But there's plenty of teams around the league that I'd love to take it. Love to snag them. So I don't think there will be any shortage of suitors for BI.
No, look, he is a talented player. You just have to remember, talented player, but I'll make it simple. And this will sound like, oh, you don't like BI. I do like BI, but I'll be clear on this. If you're a team, and every team's goal is to obviously be successful and win a title or compete for a title, you're not going to compete for a title. Brandon Ingram is your best player. Cut and dry. He's talented. He can't be your best player. Period. He can't be. Because if he's your best player, you're probably not making the playoffs. And I don't care what anybody says. That's just fact. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have talent, but there are ceilings and limits for different players. Brandon Ingram is not the kind of guy that can carry a franchise. Never has been. And that's not a shot, because you can say that about a lot of players. I admire the long and productive career that DeMar DeRozan has had. But DeMar's kind of in the BI situation. He can do a lot of good things. What he can't be, if you're trying to win a title, is your best player. He can't be that. He might be able to be your 2, maybe your 3, can't be 1. And Brandon Ingram is in the same position. He's one of those guys that's really, really good, but he can't be your best player. Not if you're trying to win a title.
So, yeah, no, that's fair, Kurum. That was quite the announcement, too, from Russ. So, hey, I'd love to hear your favorite Russell Westbrook moment, Kurum, if you got a second. Yeah, I think my biggest frustration half the time with BI is he just settles a lot. Like, obviously, he doesn't really have the frame to absorb a ton of contact, so I get why you sometimes avoid going in there in traffic. But I at times I do wish he was more aggressive getting into the rim, and instead he just settles for a lot of like 18-foot mid range. Like, look, I know Kevin Garnett would be proud of you right now, But like you have the skill to get closer to the basket and create an even better look. It doesn't have to be a jab step mid range. So like I think he's a good player. He just sometimes frustrates me when he starts like settling for like those 15-foot bombs where I'm just like, yeah, you could have gotten a better shot there. Come on, man.
Look, he is talented. And I've watched and remember the Lakers drafted him. And I honestly did not want them to trade him. I didn't really want them to trade any of the young guys, but I knew because we had LeBron and LeBron, you have LeBron, you're on a different timeline. Respectfully, that's real. And so on the LeBron timeline, look, LeBron's like, I'm trying to compete for a title. I don't really have time 4 or 5 years to wait for Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. And I forgot all the other guys that were on the team at the time. And so you had the ability to go get a fellow clutch client, an AD, an all NBA player, and you did. And you ended up winning the title. I get it. My frustration with Brandon Ingram isn't his talent. It's kind of like what you said. It's his shot selection. I've been told over and over again by a lot of people, especially guys that are really into analytics, that the 2-point shot isn't that valuable. It's definitely a lot less valuable if you're shooting a 15-foot or a 19-foot jump shot, because then you're like, you might as well shoot the goddamn 3. You taking a contested 2? Those in today's NBA, a contested 2 is not a good shot. And BI more times than not, he will settle for the contested 2 because he doesn't like to be touched. Any kind of physicality, it derails him instantly. It's his failing. And it's weird, right? Because he's been in the league a decade now. You think, like, come on, man, you got to know by now, like, you don't have to be Joe Muscle, but I don't know, get stronger, add something else to your game, another wrinkle, become better at catch and shoot, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like he peaked, Brett. He peaked like 2 or 3 years ago, and he just kind of been stunted ever since.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, it's funny because like the contested 2, I think is, like I said, it's really his timing of when he does it that just annoys me every time. Like, if you're shooting a contested 2 because there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock, yeah, I get it. You just got to go at that point. But when there's like 15 seconds on the shot clock, like, dog, swing the rock around. Like, you still have time to look for a better shot than that. Yeah, it's one of those things, yeah, where I know the analytics will tell you the guys that are elite 2-point shooters keep taking them. Analytics will tell you Kevin Durant should keep taking them. DeMar DeRozan should keep taking them.
Right.
Brandon Ingram's just kind of in that weird space where it's just like, oh, he takes a lot of them, but I don't know if he should be taking a lot of them. But at this point, he's just ingrained it as such a habit that he's going to keep taking a lot of these contested deep 2s where you just kind of have to live with it at this point. You know it's coming, and you just got to hope he's on one that night.
All right.
I'd say, yeah, and hey, biggest sale in NBA history.
I actually thought the Raptors, with what they did with their.
Oh, you can go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I actually thought the situation that best fit him because of what they were building in Toronto. I thought it was the Raptors because Scotty Barnes is clearly their best player, and I think they wanted BI to be the number 2 to Scotty. But the thing about BI is he can be maddening. You pointed it out. Like, the talent is there, but I just feel like there's something missing. And I can't put my finger on it, but I think BI could be a terrific number 2, but everything in me says, even despite his talent, he's probably a 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how talented he is. I'm talking about what he actually does on the court. If we're talking about being on a contending team, he's probably a 3, which, by the way, that's not an insult. That's saying to two other NBA caliber players, all NBA players or all stars, you're the third guy. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that would be wherever he lands, that's what he needs around him. He needs a couple of guys better than he is to take pressure off of him. Going to the Clippers or I just felt like the Kawhi thing is such a mess. If you're Brandon Ingram, I don't think nobody hopes this trade gets voided more than Brandon Ingram. Even if you don't want to go back to Toronto because you're mad or whatever, I tell you for fact, with 100% certainty, he didn't want to be in the Clippers.
No, that's absolutely fair. It would have been a funny combo too, watching Garland and Bi just try to team up. You're gonna have just Garland dotting him up for like the most wide open three, and then he just stands there, waits for the defender to come to him. I call it the J.R. Smith special. When you wait for the defender to come to you, wait till you're contested and then shoot.
It's funny you mentioned that because there's another player that does that a lot too. Jason Tatum does that a lot too. How many times have we seen Tatum cross somebody up, blow past the player, but then come back to them to complete the move? Like Tatum is like he's not satisfied with blowing by you. He's got to come back and get you with a hezzy. He just can't just blow by you and be done. He needs to come back. You're right. It's overkill by a lot of guys sometimes. But the J.R. Smith thing, that's a perfect reference. I'll never forget the J.R. Smith thing.
I was gonna say he even called him said it himself he did that. One of my favorite quotes. I'd rather take a contested shot than an open shot all day. It's kind of boring when you take open looks. I saw that quote when he said, I'm like, I love you, JR, for that. You're not even trying to hide it. You're like, nah, give me that defender. I'm just going to put it right in his eye.
Look, JR is a special snowflake. So, yeah, he's got a different way of thinking of the being a competitor. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that seems so JR. I get it. And if we went further back into the NBA, I think that sounds like something a guy like John Starks would do, or something like a guy like Vernon Maxwell would do. Like you get a few of those guys that are wired a little bit different from everybody else and think that way. So I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Hey, I don't know if he tried to or not, but Antoine Walker loved trying to shoot over people for no reason.
Antoine Walker's unique. We talk about enigmas. If you remember Antoine Walker, if you've seen any YouTube highlights, as talented a player as I've ever seen, he's 6'8", about 240, can handle the ball. I mean, handle it, not kind of handle it, but handle it the way a guard can handle it. He had that kind of ball handling skill. Could shoot with either hand, but he's probably one of the least efficient players that I've ever seen play. I don't even need to look at the numbers. If you pull up Antoine Walker's career, I'm willing to bet if he played a decade, he never shot more than 40% from the field for the decade. And he took a lot of shots. He scored a lot of points, but he was not an efficient player. He was just a chucker. For all his talent, he was a chucker.
No, absolutely. And I'm curious, what's his best field goal percentage in a season? Oh.
I bet he never shot, at least not when he was considered a star. I bet he never shot better than 40. I bet he never had a season where he shot 46% from the field. Maybe not even 45.
His best is 43. He used the 41% from the field for his career.
That's who he is.
It's 2 All-Star seasons were just below 40. 02, 03, 39, and 38. That man was just chucking.
People don't even realize it. He was a chucker. Antoine Walker was talented, but he was not a good player.
I think my favorite part about looking at this real quick is like the fact that why did he need to average 16 and a half shots for his career? Like this man is he has almost 4 years where he's taking like 20 or more shots a game. I'm like Antoine was something, but like y'all can divvy up those shots a little bit more equally. Like he is just getting his shots up.
Best thing that happened to Paul Pierce, they got rid of Antoine Walker.
Yeah, he's a weird play. He is.
I do not disagree with that at all. 100%.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
he did struggle in that series, but he struggled because they had wing defenders that could be physical with him. Brandon Ingram, say what you want throughout his career, any kind of physicality, he's finished. He's done. Can't handle it. Cannot deal with physicality.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's just a nightmare matchup for him because then you got guys like Dort and Caruso getting right into his chest, and he is not.
Oh
he
yeah,
does not react well to that.
Yeah.
Saying it's not like he has. I'll say it's not like he has the cleanest. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'll say it's not like he has the cleanest handle to create the separation on him either. Like their hands are too quick for that.
Yes. And right, you bring up a great point. You got guys like Dort, and Caruso who not only have great lateral quickness, but they get physical with you. They get up into your body. You get up into a guy like Brandon Ingram's body, and Brandon Ingram, basically, for what it's worth, basically he's built the same as KD. They're just rail thin guys that both have been in the league well over a decade, and they've added maybe half an ounce of muscle, if that. Now Ingram a lot more than Durant, because I think Durant is just a much more gifted and talented player. And Durant can score at all three levels. Brandon Ingram at best is a streaky 3-point shooter. He makes his living in the mid range.
No, absolutely. I absolutely love. I'm excited to see this upcoming NBA year. It's going to be so much fun, especially with all the new players moving teams. We just got the schedule release. My Bucks only have 2 national games, which are, of course, both against Giannis. So that doesn't surprise me. I know I'm going to try to get tickets for the 28th when he comes back to Milwaukee. That's for sure.
Is that a coincidence?
Yeah. No, I figured once Giannis left, we wouldn't have anybody wouldn't have many national televised games, but you know what? That's all right. The play-in run starts now.
Well, I'm guessing if the Bucks aren't going to be on TV, that Miami's probably has a lot of games on TV. Even though I think Miami is going to be good. I want to be clear because I don't think they're going to be a bad team. But I'm just looking at what the roster they have right now today. That doesn't say title contender. That says playoff contender at best. So I think they're going to be good. I just don't think they're going to be title. Now, that doesn't mean they can't make a move to augment their roster. I'm talking about the roster they take into the regular season right now today, the current roster. They're a first round.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think that. I think I want my Bucks to challenge for a play-in spot.
I don't think they have enough. Yeah.
I agree. I think the East is a little.
It would have helped a lot had they kept Norman Powell.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping the Bucks compete for a play-in spot, but I think the East is going to be too deep for that. I don't even think we're going to necessarily be an awful team per se. I think we're just going to be more young and inexperienced, and just won't have just don't think we'll have the juice to get all the way into the play-in. But I do think that there's some fun pieces there for a mini rebuild here. Obviously, it'll probably take longer than that. Granted, I'm sure it'll try to take us a couple of years to find our next star to build around, but. I think there's some young pieces. I think Burris showed a lot of promise in summer league. I think Jaconis, there's a reason why we really pushed to get him in the Giannis trade. So I think there's young pieces there. I think they'll be one of those teams that are like, you look at them and you go, yeah, they weren't amazing, but they're just kind of more not amazing because they're on the young, inexperienced side, not necessarily because this is an awful basketball team. Because I do think the Bucks do have like quite a few good players. I just don't know if like the young talent that they have now will be able to really put it all together in year one.
But you do think they'll have a respectable season, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be respectable. I don't like I said, I thought that there would have been a chance for a play-in spot, but now it feels like the East is a little too deep for that.
You know what? I do think what the Bucks have done, you know, obviously with the trade and the draft, I think they did well. They did well. And what you want is you want to have a respectable season, but you also want to have like one or two of your young guys take a leap, right? That's what you're always looking for, player development, take a leap. So it'd be great if one of those young guys elevates, or maybe two of them elevates. It's all about player development because this is the next iteration of the Bucks. And one of them could develop into a star, and maybe you draft another guy, and so you know how it goes. You want stars, but we both agree the stars are great, but you're always looking for your next franchise guy.
No, absolutely. And I love, like I said, I loved what I saw from Burries in Summer League. I think that he very much, I feel like he can be one of those players, trying to like figure out how to put this, like high-end role player to like fringe all-star caliber player. I think like his ceiling is he could become like a solid all-star caliber player, and that's nothing to scoff at. You make a lot of big bucks being one of those guys. So I don't think he's like a superstar in the making, but I do think he can ascend to like fringe stardom, to maybe even just straight like all stardom. So like I said, I have high hopes for him. I just, when it comes to evaluating my own prospects, I just try to keep it more realistic.
Fair. That's fair. Look, I'm beyond excited for this season. Not because I'm assuming how good the Lakers will or won't be. I think the Lakers are one of the hugest question marks in the NBA. I have no idea. You start every year out with hope, right? That's what you do. We're 0-0, and even though we're in the same conference as the Spurs and the Thunder and the Nuggets, I could say at least at the beginning of the season, you never know. Even though we actually do know. Look, I'm excited to see. You know, because now it's officially Luka's team, right? Because look, let's be real. LeBron casts a huge shadow, and he's gone now. So now it's Luka, it's Reeves. They just went out and got Walker Kessler. Grimes is there now. Like they did a lot in the off season. So I am interested in seeing how all those pieces come together. My only frustration is that if the ultimate goal is always to try to compete for a title, I think we're like a year away. I think we're a year away because I think we can be good. I don't think we're going to be title contenders. Not, and I'm saying that because I want to be clear. San Antonio and OKC, they're not going away. And here's the frustrating part for anybody in the West. They're both young. Like the Spurs are really young, especially when you look at Harper and Castle and Wemby. They're super young, but the Thunder are really young too. Like, yes, SGA's 26, 27, but that's not old. And then you got Chet, J-Dub, they're what, 24? You know what I mean? Casey and Wallace, 24. 20, like, they're both really young teams. And what does Sam Presti keep doing every offseason? He'll draft some more dudes. He'll stash them away somewhere. And then just when you think they have no need for him, he'll bring them back from Europe or wherever he's got them stashed. I think the Thunder they're one of the few teams that they have so much talent. They didn't need to add a splash player. I think you bring back what you have and you go for it. If you're the Spurs, you didn't need to add a splash player. You have these splash player. His name's Wemby. And you got Castle. And my God, Harper, that's a monster. I think Stephen Castle is going to eventually be an all-star caliber player. Here's the crazy part. I still believe Dylan Harper is going to be the better player.
I was gonna say I think Dylan Harper's ceiling, in my opinion, like I think he can be all NBA. I think I still think Stephon Castle is more like very high level role player into like solid all star category. Think like peak Drew Holiday. I think that's kind of where Castle falls, kind of in that Drew Holiday territory where you go, he's not good enough to run his own team, but like, yeah, I want him on my team because he's just very clearly tips the scales when it comes to championship contention. So
I love that comparison. That's a great comparison, partner. That's a great comp. Yes, I can see that. Look, Drew's a terrific player, but he can't be your best player. You know what I mean? Like if you say, Drew, we need you to play like a number one tonight, we need you to take 19 or 20 shots, he can do that, but he's not good at it. It's not a strength. When Drew can be the third guy and he's free to do the things that he does best, play defense, take charges, the little things, and he gets in that rhythm from shooting threes, like we talk about roles and tiers of players, as a third option where he's not the guy, Drew Holiday is excellent. And he showed you when he went to the Celtics, when he was the fourth guy, he can be excellent. And so I love that comp because I get that. I think Castle is a dog. Like you can tell he wants it. There's guys who want to be stars and there's guys that are just content. He's not content. I don't think Castle is as naturally talented as Harper is. So I do agree with you that he's more of a fringe, terrific starter, but more of a fringe all-star-ish kind of guy. I don't see Castle being a guy that's going to give you 28 points a game or something like that. But if you said, well, Mo, can Castle drop 18 a game with 7 rebounds and 4 or 5 assists or something? Yes, and play elite defense. I think you're right. I think he's closer to being just a terrific starter who might make 1 or 2 all-star teams, whereas I think Harper, like you said, could make multiple all-NBA teams.
I'd say, yeah, that's one guy even before the season started, by the way, I said to look out for on the Bucks with Ryan Rollins, and he made the jump I straight up thought he was going to. I was so happy to see the Ryan Rollins breakout this year. I'd say I think the answer is Casey Wallace probably goes to the starting lineup instead of AJ Mitchell.
Look,
Sam,
I will say, my partner, look, Casey Wallace, every accolade, every flower he got this last season, he earned it. I am a Lou Dort fan, but Lou Dort was not their best defender this past season. Their best defender, I'm talking about in terms of consistency, not reputation, wasn't Alex Caruso. It was Casey Wallace. Casey Wallace is actually their best perimeter player defensively. Alex Caruso, I think, has a knack for coming up with bigger plays and bigger moments. But I'm talking about overall what you do over the course of a season into the postseason. It was Casey Wallace. Casey Wallace has turned into an all-NBA defender. He's quicker than Lou Dort. He's laterally quicker. He's more athletic. He's a better shooter than Dort. So I get why they decided to move off from Lou Dort, because the reality is Casey Wallace is a better version of Lou Dort right now. And they have Asia Mitchell. So it's weird. They move on from Lou Dort, but then you look at their roster top to bottom, and they still have tons of perimeter defenders. Let's not forget J-Dub himself. When he's healthy, J-Dub is an elite perimeter defender. Asia Mitchell's a terrific defender. And you still have Casey Wallace, and Alex Caruso. OKC is still loaded. If this is breaking news to any basketball fan out there, the Thunder still loaded. The biggest question mark on their roster, it's not anybody young, up and coming. It's a guy that's been there a few years. The biggest question mark is, how does Chet respond? Because you're going to see Wemby again in the postseason, bro. And you're going to have to respond to him better than you did this past season. He doesn't have to outplay. By the way, Chet Holmgren is a terrific player, but he doesn't have to outplay Victor Wembanyama, he has to compete against him. You feel me? Like if Wemby's gonna drop 28 on your head, he's gonna drop 28 on your head. There's not much you can do. What you can do is compete, though. If he's gonna drop 28, then Chet's got to be the best version of himself. If Wemby's gonna drop 30 on him or whatever, then Chet's got to drop 22. He's got to give you 11 boards. I'm saying he's got to be competitive in that matchup. You don't have to win it, but he's got to be competitive. And to this point, he has not been competitive.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think the big thing with Chet too, it's just something about Wemby's matchup psychs him out. Like, I don't know what takes him out of the game that much. Because I don't even need him to even get 20 points. Like, if you can force Wemby to, like, if he scores 25, make him take 25 shots to do it. Like, make him work. And I feel like that's the biggest issue. It's Wemby sees Chet and he like sees red, and Chet just doesn't really seem like he wants any part of that. But at a certain point, you're going to have to play this game with Wemby. You're going to have to just go right back at him. And it doesn't have to be on the offensive end. You don't need him to come back and try to compete with him offensively. When it comes to, you just need him to be like, hey, Wemby, yeah, you got 25, but it took you 27 shots to get there. And that's a win at that point. Like, you already won if you're forcing it just a horribly inefficient night like that.
And here's the thing, Chet Holmgren has the ability. I'm talking about his length, his versatility, that if he really competed, I'm not saying he could stop Wemby, but I think he can do what you were suggesting. He can make Wemby more of a volume scorer, right? Like you said, Chet could still drop his 17 and 10, but if he makes Wemby take 25 shots to get 28 points, that's a win. We would agree with that. That's a win. I'm a Chet Holmgren fan. I don't need him to try to be better than Vic. He can try. I just need him to compete. If he just competes, if he just goes at him, I think that's going to be a huge difference.
You know what I think Chet really needed to do on offense, in all seriousness? Can he speed up his shooting form a little bit? I get everybody has their way to shoot, but like, one, he doesn't even have like for being like as tall as he is, his release isn't that high, and it takes him forever to get it off. I'm like, dude, like, if you like, I don't know if you have to lower the release even more or whatever, but like, dude, like, I feel like half the problem too is he's just not comfortable getting his shot off because it takes him so long to get into it that, yeah, Wemby can cover that ground because you're taking 5 business days to shoot. Like, yeah, I watched Jaylen Brown send your stuff back because you're taking 5 business days to load up.
I remember that.
Like, it to me, like, I do think he needs to take advantage of smaller defenders, but also with just his shooting in general, like, you just got to be a little quicker at this level. Like, these closeouts are going to be fast, so you just got to get the shot off a little quicker. He doesn't find that go-to shot.
Chet's got a really slow release. We can agree on that. And like you said, with smaller defenders, maybe not much of an issue, but when you're going up against a guy as long as you are and as athletic or more athletic than you are, you can't have a slow release with Wemby because you're going to be eating that ball.
Yeah, it almost feels like his go-to shot will end up being, if he does develop one, like a little
jump hook.
Like a little jump hook or like a little 10-foot post fade over smaller defenders. I don't think he'll ever be a guy that can just overwhelm anybody, but I think he can definitely turn into a good like mismatch on her.
100%. Look, they have a luxury, I believe OKC does, because you have SGA and you got J-Dub, but Chet, they have a luxury that Chet's their third guy. But I think that Chet can be a matchup nightmare if they go to him more and he works on his game more. You're right. I think that against a lot of teams, Chet Holmgren is a tough matchup. I think J-Dub is a tough matchup against a lot of teams when he's right because of his ability to get downhill. My point is, as a Laker fan, I'm in a weird way, I should say I'm in a better situation than you, the Bucks fan, are, but I'm not really in a better situation than you. I have Luka and you don't, but I'm also in the same conference with OKC and San Antonio. And if I say this right now on the air, I'd be shocked if somebody came out of nowhere and said Mo's crazy. But I'll say it. Guess what? I don't think the Lakers can beat the Spurs or the Thunder in a series. I don't think that's breaking news, though. It just is what it is. So I'm excited for the season, but I think I'm more excited about the veterans that have gone to new places than I am really about the new faces in general. I'm excited to see how much better Wemby is. I'm excited to see how much better Dylan Harper and Castle is going to be. I'm excited to see because I do think there's some things to clean up there in San Antonio. What are they going to do, De'Aaron Fox? I think at some point, I said this a long time ago, and I'm going to be proven right. They're going to trade De'Aaron Fox. They are. Every time Dylan Harper and Castle get better, the better they get, the closer De'Aaron Fox gets to getting traded.
I'd say, yeah, Chet does have that mindset and work ethic for sure. You can tell he loves hoops. I'd say, yeah, that's the thing though. Yeah, I think the guy to kick him out will just be Dylan Harper because I think with Stephon Castle, the thing with Stephon Castle is he cannot be the lead ball handler. He just turns the ball over too much for that, which is why they need De'Aaron Fox. But if Harper develops into a good enough ball handler, which he already, by the way, is, that he's not getting ripped every 3 seconds. Like, you don't need Fox to play $50 million babysitter. Like, at that point, you can just move on from him, which I think you'll have to wait a year because obviously his value right now is at a low after that, rough finals he had. But yeah, I still think that there's a good player to be had. I think he'll help them make another deep run in the playoffs. But I think 2 years most, because after 2 years, you got to start looking at the extensions for Castle. You got to start looking. Harper will be like the year after that.
Right. And it's going to be Castle, Harper, then Wemby. You're going to keep all three of them. Only a crazy man wouldn't. You're not going to. And if you're smart as a franchise, you're thinking about those moves ahead of time, which means, I think De'Aaron Fox has this season, maybe next, but I'm going to say this season. And if he has a terrific season, it'll stall out any talks of him being traded. But if Dylan Harper continues to the way he did last year, if Castle continues long, I think that they won't need De'Aaron Fox as much because I actually think that Harper's already a better ball handler than Castle is. It's not that Castle can't be a secondary facilitator. He just can't be the main facilitator because he's a good player, but you're right. He is an absolute turnover machine. It's weird because watching Harper and Castle, for me, I know they're in the West. I know their skill sets are different, but I feel like in a way, watching them and their dynamics, they kind of remind me of Brown and Tatum. The only difference is, obviously, Brown and Tatum wasn't coming up with a guy like Wemby.
No, absolutely. And hey, Mo, I just want to give you a warning. Look out for a phone call from the Detroit area code. I hear the Pistons are still looking for a second option. You might be getting that call soon. So it's absurd to me how they still haven't figured that out. After the way their season ended, how in the world have you not even looked at a second option?
I don't understand that because some of it was right in your face. Like, it made sense to go after a guy like Norman Powell, right? A scorer. That's what you need, a couple of those guys. But instead, they lost scoring. Tobias Harris, gone. What is the big move that Detroit's done this offseason?
John Collins.
Yeah. And look, this isn't to rag on John Collins, but what John Collins' strengths is he's a really good lob threat who when he can catch and shoot, by the way, you talk about slow releases. You want somebody to slow release, as slow as Chet's? Watch John Collins shoot. I think John Collins, you would agree, is more of a role playerish kind of player, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah,
that is not the splash move. I needed them to make a move that was going to say, yeah, we're going to take some wear and tear off of Cade's body because we're going to bring in a couple guys that can, on a given night, can give us 20 or more. They didn't do that. And I didn't understand that. It's what you needed. By standing pat, basically, you're promising pretty much that you're going to have the same season you had last year. Either you'll have the same season or you might have a worse season, but you won't have a better season. You didn't add anything to take pressure off of Cade. I don't understand that. And your relationship with Jalen Duren is not good. And I get it. You got to judge guys on merit. Jalen Duren was horrible in the postseason. Anybody that says differently, they must didn't watch him in the postseason. That being said, in the regular season, he was terrific. He was an all-star. The fact that he struggled in the postseason, he's 22. He's not a finished product. I think that when you're that young, you're gonna have some ups and downs when guys challenge you, when you get some notoriety. He became an all-star. Guess what happens then? You get a lot more attention, and they start coming at you. And what do people realize right away? Well, we know one thing. For whatever reason, as a center, Duren likes to put the ball on the floor. Turnover, turnover, turnover. I think that Detroit wants to keep Jalen Duren. I'm sure Cade wants Jalen Duren to stay. But it's a fair question, Brett. You can appreciate this. It's a fair question to ask. Is he worth a max? I think he's worth a raise. I don't think he's worth the max. That's just me. That's my opinion.
I completely agree with that. I personally thought that the Detroit Pistons would have been smart to get in on the honest trade and then see if maybe you can route like a pick or two to Milwaukee and just I really thought that they should have pursued Tyler Hero. Because while obviously Tyler Hero has his flaws, the one thing he can do very well when he's healthy is shot create. Now, if you want to question if you can stay healthy through 82 games in a postseason grind, yeah, fair. But even if you have somebody to take the load off Cade for, 60 games in the regular season, like that's still big. Because as of right now, like what's the game plan here? You're gonna go into the season with an angry Jalen Duren because you didn't want to pay him, because you're gonna go into the season with number two, like if you can't figure it out with Duren, like I don't even know what happens after that. Like, are you going to attempt to weaponize a Sewer Thompson this year on offense, which really is not a great idea? But like, I'm already trying to figure out like what even happens? Yeah, because there's only so many pin downs you can run Duncan Robinson and company off of before the defense just snuffs that out. So, like, when it comes to teams that I'm not. Say playoff teams I'm not high on from last year. I think the top of that list might just be the Detroit Pistons because of their lack of moves.
I'll say it right now. I know Coach B gets the max out of his roster. I'm talking about in terms of effort. Their 12th man comes in and gives you everything. Like this is not about their effort or how hard they play or their style of play. It's about the reality is you can be built for the regular season or you can be built for the postseason. They're terrific because they outwork everybody throughout the regular season because of how they play. Then you get to the postseason and the floor shrinks and it becomes more of a half court game and it becomes more about execution. And anybody that playing the Detroit Pistons, let's send two guys at Cade Cunningham because I'm not afraid of nobody else on that roster. And if Cade Cunningham can beat us and be Superman, by the way, he is a great enough player to where he's done it at times. But you're asking a lot. You're more than a lot, by the way. This because it's not, well, Cade's got to be the best player, and then so and so's the number two. I don't know who's their definitive number two. It's Duren by default, but the truth of the matter is, and he's a good player. Duren's not a natural scorer. He's not a natural scorer. He's not the kind of big that you throw the ball into the post and go, yeah, Jalen's about to go to. He's not that kind of big. He's not. He he has a limited offense. He has a limited offensive game that's very limited. It's very similar to, or not, but not nearly as explosive as Dwight Howard's game. It's Jalen Duren has like one or two post moves tops. And hopefully this offseason, even as we're speaking, he gets into the lab and adds more to his game, or does the thing that most smart big men do, pay that money and go spend some time with Mr. Olajuwon. You need to. But as a fan of Cade Cunningham and as much as I respect Cade and what he's done for Detroit, I think you're right. I'm going off of the moves they made and didn't make this offseason. I think Detroit takes a step back. I'm not saying something crazy like they won't make the playoffs at all, nothing like that. But I think they take a step back because I think that when money gets involved and players get disgruntled, and remember, Cade's your franchise player. But if your franchise player is watching how you treat your second best player, who's his guy, I think that impacts him too. So Duren's disgruntled. I think Cade will be disgruntled because he'll be like, we get this Duren business going on, and when we should be focusing on camp and getting in the rhythm and all. I think that this might be the season where it all comes apart, where it all unravels. You got to remember, Jalen Duren's 22 years old. I'm not excusing him being immature, but when you play with a guy's money, I don't care if he's 28 or 22, that guy's going to say something. He's going to be disgruntled. He's going to come to camp. Maybe he won't work as hard or whatever the case may be. I think they're setting the tone for a really long season.
So, yeah, just be like, Duren, you want to put the ball on the floor? All right, go watch some Amari Stoudemire film, buddy. I feel like he could be like a decent, because I don't think he has terrible handles for a big per se. I feel like he could tighten him up just enough to not get ripped by like his, counterpart. So I don't know. Like part of me still feels like he can develop some sort of face-up game because I don't think the handles are like terrible for a center. Like I feel like it's workable. And when you're a center, I feel like if you have even workable handles, you can do a lot with that. He's got to stop trying to put the ball on the floor when there's a wing or a guard on him because those guys, yeah, they're too quick. They're just going to poke that ball free right away.
I agree. And you're right. As a big going against other bigs, he actually is a solid ball handler going against other bigs. It's just that he does get cocky and over dribble when he turns the ball over too much. I'm just saying I need him to develop a better face-up game. Everything can't be jump hooks. I mean, I got nothing against the jump hook, but you got to be able to add more to your arsenal than jump hook left, jump hook right. You got to add a little bit more. And maybe that's what the Pistons are saying. Like, we love you, Jalen Duren. We want you back, Jalen Duren. We can't give you the max, bro, till you show us a little bit more. I understand that. Hey, what's up, Jory?
That's good, Jory. No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm saying I'm looking forward to the season. And plus, hey, well, obviously, too, we got some great WNBA action going on. I've been trying, keeping up with the ladies there. Absolutely, Duren needs to stop this foolishness. I'd say apparently the Pistons are offering somewhere between 35 and 38, which I think is actually very fair for Jalen Duren. But obviously, he wants his full max. So apparently, that's your difference right there. So I feel like 38. Like if you pay Jalen Duren $38 million, it's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. Don't be a Schroeder. Yeah, don't do that.
She said, "Oh, Schroeder." Yeah, you don't want to be. You don't want to be. That's a great point. Look, I don't know how much of the W you've been watching, but I've actually been watching a ton. And I don't like to be prisoner of the moment because I'm the guy that always says anybody's capable of having a great year. I need to see more before we start anointing people. But I'm gonna say this. Because every game that I've watched that she's played in, and I've watched almost all of them, I'm telling you right now, Olivia Miles is not a fluke. She is the real deal. I'm not saying she's the best player in the league, But in terms of point guards, she's as good as anybody. As good as anybody right now. Yeah, Jory's 100% right. Olivia Miles is that. She can put the ball on the floor. She can hit you with a hezzy. Her court vision is insane. I'm just a huge and not just a her. I've been enjoying watching Paige Buckets play. I've been enjoying watching the Fever play. The Fever offensively, I think their offense is what makes them a threat come postseason. Because if Indiana gets on one, they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a problem with Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and the crew, Leah Boston. Offensively, I think Indiana can scare anybody. Their defense isn't as tight, but offensively, that's the thing that you have to deal with because when they play with pace, they're a scary team.
I think that maybe the even most fun thing right now about the W2 is just how bright the future is. Like you already named Caitlin Clark, Paige Buckets, Olivia Miles. Guess what? We get Juju Watkins next year entering the W. That's going to be an adventure and a half. Like, there's just so much young talent. Like, I love Cam Brink. That's a great talent. Like, just so much talent to be had just around the league. Which is why sometimes it's frustrating when the discourse goes other places. I'm like, dog, all this talent, we're talking about stupid things? Come on now. So, like, overall, like,
I'm glad you touched on that. Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad you brought it up. I didn't want to go into it, but
all I'll say is this: like, I want to watch the W. I don't want to hear about what Enos Cantor has to say. Like, dog, yeah, I know who Enos Cantor is. Guess what? His name in the NBA was pick and roll at 0 every time. I know that. Like, I watched him play. I got sick of watching him play. I was tired of watching him play in like 2017. Like, I don't care what Roy's scared of planes white thinks. Like, he retired after 3 games because he was scared of flying. And I'm supposed to sit there and think that, oh, you guys are making this statement because you care. You don't care. You are just making an ass out of yourself and taking the spotlight away from the actual players who deserve it because your 15 seconds of fame is up and now you're trying to get back in the spotlight. That's what annoys me. Like, let's focus on the basketball at hand and not on, pick and roll at 0 every time. Like, come on. Like there's too much talent in the W to be focusing on their publicity stunts.
And that's all I'm saying. I want the attention and the focus to be on all the ladies in the league and not on 2 clowns who know damn well they ass ain't getting drafted. Like, you know what? Go ahead. Be in the WNBA draft. I think it's going to be fun to watch you both go undrafted. Then what's your because all this is the big grift, right? You find enough people to believe in the stupid stuff that you like to talk about. It's just a grift. You're not doing this because you care about the integrity of the league or you're not trying to help out the players. This is all about you drawing attention to yourself with a grift. And I don't got time for that. I'd rather people not pay attention to silly crap like that and focus on the great basketball that you're watching in the W.
Right, like we had some great, we had a great overtime game with, with the Fever a couple nights ago. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Here's what Cantor had to say. Like, I just had an overtime game with like the Fever and Aces, and you want me to think about Ennis? Like, no. Like, get out of here with that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's like pretty much the only thing I'll say on that is those 2 are just clowns. I don't plan on bringing them up ever again unless they do something really out there, which I'll just call them an idiot again.
Amen.
Like I said, let's just let the ladies get that spotlight they deserve and keep it off these clowns that just want their 15 seconds of fame back.
Right. I'm with you. Let's focus on the basketball and not on the grift. That's all I'm saying. I'm watching. I'm watching Anescu. She's balling out. I'm watching Stewie balling out. There's so much talent in the W. It's not even funny. And I'm not from the veteran players to the younger players. It's an the league itself is very entertaining. Very entertaining. And I'm actually excited for the playoffs. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like it it's funny too. Like I think one of the maybe the biggest problems with the WNBA is the coverage around it. Is it just me, Mo? Is it just weird? Like I'm sure you saw, DeJounte Carrington had a hard foul on Sophie Cunningham, and they're on like
Yeah.
the news talking about did she just do it because it's Sophie? Like, do you know how flagrant fouls I've seen exactly like that? Like, come on. Like, that's just basketball. You go for the ball, and sometimes you just get the player, and it's a flagrant. It happens. Like, sometimes it just feels like that. The media, too, like, surrounding the league just kind of should just has the focus on the basketball portion and not, like, the storyline surrounding it. Like, we all love drama. I get it. But, let's focus and cover on the basketball, too, and not just make up like unserious storylines like, oh man, what should they be suspended for this? No, it's a flagrant foul. There, he got ejected from the game. That's it. It's over. It's done with. Like, move on. So yeah, it just feels like maybe in a sense the W's almost media coverage just needs to get overhauled too. Like they also kind of just need to start like, hey, let's focus on the game here. Let's not focus on abstract, just ridiculous storylines.
That's a great point. I'm with you. I think too much of the coverage tends to want to follow the low hanging fruit and the grift and the crap like that. And if you're really trying to help the league and stand up for the integrity of the league, then you don't report on that crap. You don't acknowledge it, you ignore it, and you focus on the basketball. And if you don't, if you're a member of the media and you want to ask a dumb question like, I think Dejanay, I think she doesn't like Sophie Cunningham, and what I don't want is I don't want that media coverage that we're getting where people are trying to turn the WNBA into General Hospital. I don't want a soap opera. Just focus on the basketball, man. The basketball is good enough on its merit. It's worth covering. It's worth watching.
Absolutely. Like I said, just truly support women's hoops. That's all. That's all. At the end of the day, I feel like that's what they want. They want you to come out, watch them hoop, and support them hoop. And that, as basketball fans, that's what we want. Like, obviously, the drama stuff is like fun in the off season, but when I'm like locked in, dead in the season, like, yeah, I'd rather see just good basketball rather than the dramatics. Like,
Great.
so yeah, no, but. Say, Mo, that's all I had for us tonight. Anything you wanted to add before we get up on out of here?
No, time flies when we chop hoops, guys. You know that. I can't even believe it's like 11:40 something already. But no, I have nothing else to add. Just glad to be back on a Thursday night talking hoops. We celebrated the greatness of the career of the Brody. I just appreciate you, partner. Also, big kudos to you because you're pursuing that thing. You're doing that thing. You're out there putting yourself out there. My guy Gardy is doing that real thing, professional wrestling. You gotta love it. You gotta respect it. He's doing the dream.
Yeah, I'm 2 weeks into professional wrestling camp. I'm slowly learning the basics. Probably won't have an actual match for a long while. First, long while. It's gonna be tear down, set up the ring, set up the chairs, which absolutely fine with, pay your dues. But yeah, I'm just going to keep working hard and try to get, as much as I can. And like I said, one of my goals is to hopefully just perform all over. So I definitely want to perform in different states where all my friends are. So like, I'd love to eventually, when I get good enough, come to Indy.
That's awesome.
like come to Indy, have a match where Mo can come out, go to Philly, have a match where Key and Gene can come out. Russell Westbrook, Brody retired. Say welcome in, sir. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's a long ways away, but yeah, eventually I want to just kind of travel the world and just have fun with it, see where it goes. I think the biggest thing that I just have to do right now is keep showing up, and when I show up, my goal is normally to be as coachable as I possibly can be. I feel like that's just huge because, like, I understand I don't know it all. I don't know anything really. And even when I do learn a lot, maybe 10 years in, I understand there's a guy out there 15 years. He's going to know more than me. 20 years, maybe somebody in 5 years has picked up on things I've never seen. So overall, I think kind of just my mindset right now is you'll get to the ring stuff one day, but for right now, just keep showing up, be coachable, take care of yourself, get in shape. I went down from 317 pounds to 266, so we're really trending downwards. We've lost
That's
a lot
awesome.
of weight already. So, but yeah, and like I said, we'll be bringing that up too on Meaty Boys. There's going to be a show on Saturday that I'll be there. I'll be helping, set up the ring, tear it down. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, say check us out. Like, we're planning on going live with Meaty Boys on Saturday. We'll be talking wrestling. We'll be previewing the show that I'll be working. It's going to be a great time. But yeah, no, it's definitely great to chop up hoops with you again, Mo. Hey, same time next week.
I'll be there, partner. Appreciate you. Hey, appreciate you checking in, Will.
I appreciate you, sir. Until next time, we bid you adieu and have a good night.